All right, so up here at the top of Bogart Park, Saps Trail. And as you can see behind me, I've been riding a red bike for a while, but this one looks a little different. Let me show you what's different about this thing.
So I'm actually recording over this audio because I made a mistake. The listing showed it was a 2019 YT Jeffsy Carbon Pro, but it's actually a 2018, not a 2019. So I wanted to clear that up and record over. So here we go.
It's carbon frame. It's got 150 mil travel, 150 forks. I actually upgraded the forks already. I took the forks off my other bike. I was riding that Giant, it was a 2014 Giant Trance 3, very entry-level bike, and it was old. Only so many things I can upgrade. I did upgrade the forks in the front wheel, so I took those since this has the Grip 2 damper, and it's 36 millimeter stanchion tubes rather than the 34 that came on this. So I upgraded those, put the new stands, no tube wheel on there, and front tire. Other than that, I didn't modify anything yet. It has the Float X2 rear shock. It's got carbon cranks, which is pretty cool if you're into that stuff. I know some people aren't into the carbon cranks because they're more likely to crack. I've never ran carbon cranks, so I'm going to run them until I can. A couple things to note about this bike. It climbs so much better than my other bike. I don't know if it's entirely just the suspension, if it's just better bearings and everything, and the pedals, the cranks, the wheel set, his geometry, I don't know. But man, climbing up this trail, they call it the tractor climb. This is like the flat spot, but it goes up and it switchbacks of this fire road, and it is absolutely terrible. It sucks, especially on my other bike. But this, I was able to ride the entire way. Didn't have to walk anything. I took a couple breaks, but didn't have to walk. My other bike, there's just no way some spots that I can climb up it. So huge improvements. Some of the things that I do need to take care of, the rear cassette, let's see, this thing's all off, but you can see gear 3, it is, you can't even ride in gear 3, it just slips. Gear 2 is decent, gear 1 decent, the rest all the way down here, you're not torquing super hard on it, so it's not that bad. But man, gears 3, 2, and 1, especially 3, I can't even ride in 3. It is absolutely terrible. So I'll be ordering a new cassette when I get home. Another thing that is different, that I'm not sure if it's something that's good, bad, or indifferent. I know it's gonna take some getting used to. We'll see what my long-term thoughts are, is these SRAM brakes. As of right now, I can't stand them. I don't know if they need to be bled. I'm gonna try bleeding them, see how that feels. But man, I was running Shimano single piston brakes, and those things were snappy. These are 4-piston front and rear, but even with these tightened all the way, it's just not snappy. And I really like, when I touch those brakes, I don't want to have to be digging into it. I want to just pull the brakes and I can monitor it from there. I don't know. I don't know if this is a SRAM thing. I know SRAM is a little bit more spongy than Shimano, and I've never ran SRAM brakes before on any of the bikes I've owned or ridden. I don't think I've ever ran SRAM. I don't know. I don't know if that's me or if that's the brakes or if that's SRAM in general, but can't dig it. Last thing is these bars. They are the Race Face 35 millimeter diameter bars. The prior owner cut them down. I don't know if you could tell in the video, but the prior owner cut them down. They're like 700 or 720 mil wide. I like more, like my last bike was 770. I think 760 is probably more in the range that I like. So I'm gonna run these maybe 1 or 2 trips. If I can't stand it, I will swap my other bars from the other bike onto here. Those are 770. They're aluminum, these are carbon, and at least get the feel. And if I want to upgrade from there, I'll get some carbon, you know, wide, cut them down to 770, 760 or something. I haven't done any downhill yet. Here's the downhill trail that I plan on doing. This is Saps Trail. We're in Bogart Park. Over there is Speed Sensei. I'll let you guys know how it feels. Overall, it feels so much better in so many ways, but there's some getting used to, like those brakes and also those narrow bars. Probably have to dial in the shocks a little bit. And the front is doing pretty well. I had them on my last bike and I got them kind of where I want them. It's a little different when it's on a different bike, a little more slack angles and all that stuff, better rear travel. So play with that, see how it goes. I'll let you guys know how it goes when I get to the bottom. Hopefully no crashing. Let's see how she feels. narrow bars are weird. Feels smooth though. If I'm down the hills, I mean, I'm not going fast, but let's go down this section. Narrow bars, I don't really like. Brakes so far, I don't really like. I feel like I'm squeezing super hard. But again, sometimes that's just comes down to practice and feel it out kind of thing. Still can't climb that. Not super confident in these brakes yet. I feel like I'm not predictable at all. But man, the rear suspension, night and day. Suspension feels great, that's for sure. The other thing too is it's quiet. I mean, the rear end is loud, but it's not making all kinds of noises. Brake cables clanking and clacking. It makes me wonder, I don't feel like I'm going as fast, but if it's just because it's so smooth. That was fun. So just came down first downhill trail on this bike, and overall, holy crap. Talk about a world of difference. Rear end balances well with the front end. It's pretty insane how much different this bike feels. Like I said from at the top, the one thing I was kind of worried about were those front brakes, or those brakes. I am really not a fan. I'm gonna try to bleed them, see if it does what I want it to do. But if it doesn't do what I want it to do, I need to get some Shimano brakes or something, because it's just ridiculous how much I feel like I have to squeeze. And again, it could be that I'm just not used to it, but I really, really like snappy brakes. I want it to be where I grab it. I don't need to be pulling, you know, all the way to my knuckles, or just a really long pull to really just grab and lock up. I'm a bigger guy. I weigh 225 or so, and trying to stop a bike where I need to pull a lot, like my other bike, I had single piston brakes, Shimano, same size rotors, front and rear, and I would just grab the brakes and I felt confident. I could lock them up anytime I wanted. The narrow bars, yeah, those got to change. I cannot do the narrow bars. That's just too narrow. I'll probably swap out the other bars for now, and then eventually get some carbon bars, cut them down to like 760 or so. I have 770 now. I might be comfortable going down to 760, but I don't know. We'll see. But the rear shock did really well. I may need to put a little bit more PSI in there. I felt like when I was pedaling, coming down into like G outs and stuff, I felt like I was getting close to striking pedals. They're 175 mil pedals, supposedly. And so those are a little bit longer than what I'm used to. I have 170 on my other bike. So these just maybe different. Maybe it's just getting used to. I'm not sure. But overall, wow, what a freaking difference. We'll see. I'm gonna have to look at the times from like my other runs. This is my first drop in on a downhill on this bike, so I was a little bit nervous, especially with those brakes and narrow bars. But maybe I was actually going faster. I don't know. We'll see. sometimes, you know, things go so smoothly, the suspension was so smooth that maybe I was actually going faster than I thought. But overall, holy crap, digging it. Climbs like a monster compared to what I was on before. Drops in really well. Again, other than those brakes and narrow bars, I'm in. I'm sold. I'm keeping it. Time to sell the other bike.